Hi, friends, welcome back. So, correlation is my favorite topic in FX. And if you have this problem, for example, you place trades at the beginning of the week and you find that as one position is going up, the others is going in the opposite direction. So, for example, you'll have some trades which are in positive and they're in profit, and then you'll have other trades which are in negative. But if you notice that sometimes you have trades where as one is moving up higher in profit, the other is moving down in losses. Um, you may want to look at correlations, and I noticed this myself, and I wanted to understand why is it that I'd have one position, and as it's moving in profit, the other is moving in losses. And at the end of the day, you wouldn't have lost that much, but you're still in negative and you're struggling to break even and things like that can actually affect your break even. And what correlations is when one pair moves in one direction, the other moves in a negative correlation. That's if they're negatively correlated. And then if they're positively correlated, it means that as one is moving in one direction, they move together. So think of it like if they're positively correlated, they move together in parallel lines. So as one is going up, the other is going down. If they're negatively correlated, they move in opposite directions, like the traffic in going in different directions. So as one is moving up, the other is moving down. A typical example of this is gold and the US dollar and the yen pairs. What happens when an economic turmoil happens, when there's a crisis or pandemic, the US dollar tends to devalue and to drop. Whether you look at the US dollar index or the US dollar pairs, it tends to drop in price. So the US dollar is going down. But if at the same time, if you look at that, it has a negative correlation with gold, a nearly perfect correlation with gold. So what happens when the US dollar is going down is that gold is going up. Gold, the yen pairs, and silver, those are considered safe havens. So when gold is going down, people shove their money into the yen pairs and gold. That's why those are called negative correlated pairs. Nearly 100% divergence in price movement. So one is going down, the other is going up. It's similar with the FX market and the stock market, where you'll find that as FX pairs are going up, the stock market is going down. As the stock market is going up, the FX pairs are going down. Another example you can look at is euro odd and pound odd. Those are negatively correlated. So as pound odd is going up, euro odd is going down. So pound Australian dollar can go up, and then euro Australian dollar goes down. So that's about an 85% correlation, right? I'll tell you where I get these numbers from. And then another pair is, for example, Australian dollar franc and Australian dollar yen. Those are positively correlated pairs. As one is going up, the other is going down. So you need to understand the two so that if you're trading positively correlated pairs, you're buying both of the positively correlated pairs. So you're not buying one and then selling the other, because then you'll lose one and you'll win one, and then you'll be at break even. You want to make sure that if one is going up, you're also buying the other. If one is going down, you're also selling the other if they're positively correlated. If they're negatively correlated, as one is going up, you want to be selling the other. So that also helps when you're doing technical analysis. So when you find a position, say in Australian yen, right, and you decide to buy, instead of going through all the currency pairs they are, you know in your head these are the correlated pairs. So if I'm buying Australian yen, I can also look for buy opportunities in the Australian franc, right, because those are positively correlated. If you're selling the pound Australian dollar and just selling it, you know you should be looking for a buy opportunity in the euro Australian dollar. So that's what I mean by correlation. It's like the example we'd see in like the maths book. I remember this maths book in high school, and it talked about correlation between heat, the weather, and ice cream sales. And so, for example, whenever there's a lot of heat, when it's really hot in the summertime, sales of ice cream is positively correlated with the hot weather. And then as it's getting cold and winter is approaching, weather's going down, and so are sales are going down. So those are obviously going in one direction. So what it just means is, how does something react to the other thing? So how does ice cream react to weather? How does one pair react to the other? How does the US dollar react to gold? So if you go to my FX book, there's an option of correlation, and it does all the calculations for you. You only have to punch in three things. So if you go to the calculator, the correlation calculator on my FX book, set to greater than 90%. You want to look for correlations which are greater than 90%, and then for greater than 90% positive correlations, and then you also want to look at greater than 90% negative correlations, and then set it to the longest time period. I think I set mine to a month. I don't know if that was the longest time frame, but set it to the longest time frame, because remember, you want correlations which are long standing. Shorter time periods do affect the numbers, so it's not as strong as if you use long term periods. So, what I said, go to my FX book, go to the correlations calculator, make sure you type in negative correlation greater than 90%, positive correlation greater than 90%. And I don't know how this fits in with like Ray Dalio's perspective, where he says avoid correlations. He himself says that you should always diversify. This was actually quite interesting to me because I thought to myself, okay, I've just learned this stuff on correlations, and then Ray Dalio is saying always diversify and don't correlate, and he has very good reasons for it. I remember watching his video on diversification, and he was essentially saying, yeah, when times are good, it's good to look for a pair and then find a position and then just go to other correlated pairs and then just do the exact same thing. That's the easiest route, and for sure you can triple and quadruple the results you would have gotten because you're winning in correlated pairs. But in negative times, your one loss which you could have diversified now will result in three or four losses because you're trading correlated pairs. So he sort of says don't do that, because when it's good you have triple or quadruple your results. When it's bad, you could have diversified, but now your losses are four times bigger than they would if you diversified. I don't know how this would apply to negative correlated pairs. I mean, it would still result in the same thing where he's like, just diversify. So I don't know what you think is a better option, whether you want to go with the correlated route, which I think works well, or you want to go with his diversified route, which is to avoid blowing accounts, which is, he was saying, like in times of like national crisis and things like that, it's possible to lose four times, six times more, excuse me, because if something bad happens in one of the pairs, it results in a bad loss on other three. But obviously, if you're following risk management, you don't have anything to worry about. Um, Whereas Warren Buffett says, don't diversify. Those who diversify don't know what they're doing. Um, those who diversify do so because they don't know what they're doing. So that's another viewpoint to take, which is why you should go for correlation, the correlation option. If you're certain in this position, go for the correlated pairs and the correlated strategy. I think you'll find that your results will drastically improve if you do so.